Greetings, YouTube. Yesterday was a monumentally historic day for Marvel Contest of Champions. My first reaction to the Premium Nexus Hero Crystal is very largely still what I believe about 24 hours later. And that's that the Nexus mechanic is such a pro player move, despite the high cost of what it surely will be, that this is the pro player answer to loot box mechanics going away. Loot box mechanics being, even if all things are equal, you've got over 100 champions in the 4-star crystal, 5-star crystal, soon to be 6-star crystal, and yet you are just praying to the gods that you land on the champion that you want, even though the odds, even if all things are equal, and I truly don't believe that's the case, with top tier champs having the same chance of opening as bottom tier champs, that you still have under a 1% chance. This Nexus Crystal completely turns drop rates upside down, and it gives you a choice between 3 champions of who you want to pull, and they just determine that for you, but then you determine who you get. And I really think, from everything I've read regarding loot box legislation and all of the different countries and governments that are looking into it, this would be a workaround that. Like, this would be a viable way for Marvel Contest of Champions to still be profitable, regardless of whether or not loot boxes were banned. And I'm always a fan of pro player moves, even if a company is forced to do them, like, say, Apple forced MCOC's hand to disclose drop rates, which it took literally years for them to do. If you're new to the game, you probably just assume that drop rates have always been a thing. They very much haven't been. Now, let's remind ourselves of what a premium Nexus Hero Crystal in this case, because that's the only kind of Nexus Crystal we've seen, though the point of this video, as you probably saw from the title, is the hype thanks to the legendary, amazing human being that is Otriux, the data miner, long time, for many years, long before I started my MCOC YouTube channel, giving us a preview of what's to come in the game. Now, sometimes that's new champions or new content, but in this case, it could be a new item, and that's taking this mechanic, this model of the Nexus Crystal, and eventually bring it to something like the 5-star crystal, which is what we learned was data mined yesterday. So, when you purchase a Nexus Crystal, it very much differs. One thing I love about it is that it also takes away the visual deception of a reel. There is no reel in this. You don't see anything until the crystal pops up, and then you see 3 symbols. Now, in this case, of course, like, this is kind of what I love about this. In what scenario, unless you just really want, like, a specific champion, what scenario would you ever choose a 2-star over a 3-star for the same price? I find that fascinating. The same is true if a 3-star or a 4-star pops up. But at this point, the game determined what 3 champions popped up, but then you determine which champion you take away from this crystal. So imagine this being a 5-star crystal, and surely there are going to be people, there are going to be so many fun screenshots to talk about, who get screwed over, and they end up having, like, hey, you either get your 5th dupe of Groot, your 4th dupe of Thor Jane Foster, or your 3rd dupe of Ronan, not the new Ronan, but the old Ronan. Which one do you want? But more realistically, it's going to be a case where it's like Thor Jane Foster, Groot, or Ghost Rider. And you're like, heck yeah, Ghost Rider all the way. And you choose. Like, this is so much fun. I'm infinitely more excited to open crystals with this mechanic than I am the previous slot machine, true luck randomizer, really, that is everything of crystals to this point in 2019. So, here's the question. I know it took 4 minutes to do a backstory. I try not to be long-winded. In this case, I probably was. But what should the price tag be, realistically, for a 5-star Nexus Crystal? Should this be something that gets cheaper with progression? Should progression matter? Is this something that actually would incentivize people to buy the monthly subscription service if they took a few hundred units off the price, or maybe more realistically, a few thousand 5-star shards away, like they do with the featured 5-star crystal currently? That's 11,000 5-star shards every 2 weeks instead of 15,000, but it's a limit of 1. I do expect it to probably be a limit of 1. I asked my subscribers and just the people hanging out in my live stream last night what they thought the price tag would be, and I got a lot of different answers. it seemed like the highest price point that people would say I wouldn't pay anything over in terms of 5-star shard trade-in for a crystal was 30,000, which is 3 times as high as the basic. And then you had some people that were being really, really optimistic and wishing that it would have the same price as the monthly subscription featured crystal price of 11,000. I highly, highly doubt that would be the case. And so realistically, it was a discussion somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 5-star shards. Personally, I would gladly trade 20,000 5-star shards for this, and anything below that I would consider to be a steal. This puts some future of the game into your hands. And for a long time, I thought they should come up with something like this, because the main way they're making money now, especially with Cavalier crystals, is in rank up resources, which have not really got to be that much cheaper, except every once in a while we see tier 2 alphas for between $20 and $30 a piece, but otherwise they can roll out a quote-unquote normal deal that has them be as much as $50 a piece, which we've seen that as the asking price now for the last couple of years. There's also a separate discussion, which is worth bringing up. Do you think this is worth bringing into Grandmaster crystals and Cavalier crystals, as right now it is just rolled out in the premium crystal? So really, 2 questions for you, YouTube. How many 5-star shards should a 5-star Nexus crystal be? And then besides that, by the way, let's play the rest of this just to confirm how you confirm it. And then besides that, would you like to see this as Cavalier? Of course, you choose the 3-star Void. Why not? And then the champion pops up. God, I love that. It just makes opening crystals so much more fun. And if you're going to have some control over the champion you bring to your roster, that's worth hoarding a few more crystal shards or spinning a few more units, because you could actually save yourself a lot more units and 5-star shards in future openings by paying more now. It's like skipping to the front of the line at the Disney theme park, but you're paying $50 for a fast pass instead of $20 for a normal ticket. And I realize Disney's way more expensive than that. I've just never been to Disneyland, and those numbers seemed somewhat reasonable, even if in this game they're actually not reasonable either. So, a couple of questions to ask, to debate. Personally, my answer for the 2 cents that it's worth is 20,000 5-star shards. I think that would be the fair asking price. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you vehemently disagree with me. Lord knows, every day somebody does. So comment below, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching and supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel.